wait to lift off and go. I couldn't stand to see her cry. I couldn't stand to be the reason why. And all the spaceships flying saucers, still can't believe that I'm really lost. And all the spaceships flying saucers, still can't believe that I'm really lost.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of That's Not Normal. That's Not Normal. It's Paranormal. Big T here with Dante Doom, the wonderful ginger man here. Well, glad to hear from you for another story.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm on the edge of my seat. But that's mostly just because it's like 90 degrees outside and like I'm trying not to let like my back sweat into the back of the
Yeah,
chair.
90 degrees, 80% humidity. Yeah, you're just like suction cup to your chair if you sit back in it.
Yeah, I walk outside and I just melt. I feel like those drug commercials.
Well, with that fair skin of yours, it's probably not good for you to be out in the sun. You just burn or pasty. You ain't got no other choices.
No, no, I got skills where my freckles just connect together and it looks like I tanned. So
Well,
like
for this episode, we're going to be talking about Dogman, uh, more local. Well, it's local to a bunch of places, but there's been some stories here in our wonderful state of West by God, Virginia, and the tri-state area here.
oh,
Have you heard much about the Dogman?
that is one cryptid I actually do not know a bunch about.
Well, I know some about it, and one interesting thing, we have spoke here before about an interesting, maybe cryptid, unknown incident that was told about, thing me and my brother seeing in the wintertime. If you remember that story.
Yeah.
Uh, Speaking with some people like our good old friend Bigfoot lady and stuff like that, but she hasn't really, you know, searched out for the dog man or anything, but knows some general information. And she says it possibly could have been that because there's been some cases of it being able to run on four legs and or on bipedal. Uh,
Also, I want to chime in with I don't think the mountain monster men have either because I was looking on episodes for them chasing down the dog man and there is none. What the fuck?
yeah, well, it's an interesting thing, and for those who uh, don't know too much about Dogman, it's normally seen as your could be kind of prototypical to what you would see in Hollywood as potential like werewolf. A lot of times ranging from anywhere from six and a half to about 8 feet tall. There have been claims, witnesses, reports of said creature either being dark colored fur, gray furs, black furs. Uh, like I said before, running on all fours, uh, walking and running on two legs, just seen as some kind of wolf or dog humanoid cryptid. It is interesting. I never really put two and two together with that too much about possibility of what me and my brother saw years ago. Me as a normal skeptical person, and I believe in things that others don't believe in and whatnot. But your first thing goes to logic, obviously. So I researched logic, and logic didn't make sense. So I'm not sure what we've seen. Was it a dog man? Was it not? Guess I'll never really know.
You could have yelled, "Can I pet that dog?
Can I pet that dog?
Can I pet that dog?"
Well, we were in a car, so there was not a chance to pet said dog. But at least we were safe.
Listen,
Uh,
if I learned anything from doing research on the dog man, he loves to stare you down. Like every story, that most people like eyewitness accounts, it'll be like this dog man just making eye contact and staring him down. So I'm 100% sure he just wants to win some eye contact. Like he wants to win. He wants to stare you down and make you blink.
First one to blink loses.
And then he takes your soul.
It's funny though, because a lot of times, I mean, I understand that dogs can be intimidating or animals that are relative to dogs and stuff like that. But things I have seen and read and stuff too, it almost kind of reminds you of some of the characteristics of like a cat or like a big cat. It can be a little bit like stalkerish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, but I mean, one of the stories that I read that was local to our state, and I'm trying to remember if it was in like Kanawha County or somewhere, or Rudolph County, one of the two, where a guy had made a claim of being chased out of a fishing spot. The guy was fishing when a large figure came out of like the tree line while he was fishing, and it went from being standing up to dropping down to all fours and kind of like chasing towards you, in which he hopefully had his brown pants on, but he had just kind of dropped his stuff and ran off and got in his truck and took off.
Uh, I actually read one that took place in the great year of 1995. Okay. And it's
Mhm.
from Morgantown, West Virginia. And I'm going to read the eyewitness account how they put it. Okay.
All right.
Now, I don't, it's anonymous and all this stuff, but it even has a time, which kind of surprised me. But whoever this person was, they was coming home from Taekwondo class in Morgantown, West Virginia. Just outside of Masontown, this big, giant, dog-like thing jumped off the cliff on the driver's side of the road. I hit my brakes and came to a halt. It stood in the middle of the road. Its teeth were snarling at me. I thought it was going to attack. Just then, a car came from the opposite direction. The car came to a stop, and the thing jumped from the middle of the road over the embankment.
Oh, crazy. It's not too far off from my current location. I mean, you know that.
And
Uh,
and
so
it's a highly woods area.
yeah, it definitely is. There's a lot of high peaks. There'll be a lot of places to hide. There's a water source there, a major creek that runs through there. Uh, be interesting to see or to know if there's been any other travelers. So this is a relatively traveled road, and there's some commerce work and stuff that travels through that area.
I wonder if like any of the coal trucks ever hit one and just thought it was a dog,
It's possible,
just
but there
swept
would
it
be
to
a
the
lot of
side.
places to hide and stuff there because there's a lot of thickets and stuff up there. I mean, there's a water source which is going to attract, with I guess food for it, deer, and other animals.
Well, that is one thing that in my research, a lot of sightings are in Michigan, Wisconsin area around that Great Lakes area. And
Yeah,
most
I
of
mean,
them
that
was
makes
around like
sense.
body of water.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that makes a lot of sense because when you have water, it's going to attract things because, everything needs water to survive. Also, there's fish and everything like that, which I would assume, wolves, dogs will eat fish. And if they can grab them in the water, they will do that as well. So
I'd
that
like
doesn't seem to be too far away.
I'd like to think they eat the bears. Like they're like challenging bears right in the water over fish.
I mean, it's possible.
It is money in the bank tonight.
Yeah, it is a wrestling
Um,
event for you wrestling fans.
throwing down. You got the freaking bear throwing down with the dog man. Maybe Sasquatch comes rolling in with trying to win the case. Like,
Oh, it's over when Veggie Man shows up.
hey, speaking of that, I'm
Here he
plugging
comes, the
it.
goddamn steel chair.
I am plugging it right here and now, ladies and gentlemen. next weekend, July 13th, in case you're listening to this like 2 weeks from now, I don't want to get you like all sad. Veggie Man Festival, the first one ever, brought to you by Moth Boys Podcast. Give them a plug. And it's like 11 to 5. I'm not sure exactly the venue, but it's in Fairmont, West Virginia. Check it out. There's going to be merch of Veggie Man. And if you even follow this show, you know I love Veggie Man. So I'm
Yeah,
probably
I
going to go.
mean, that's home of the veggie man. You have to
I
let me
think
know when it gets a little closer. I have to see what I work, and maybe I'll join you, and we'll go up and take a visit to the first ever Veggie Man Festival.
I am stoked about it. Like my main goal is to get a Veggie Man shirt and be like, hey, listen, just tat Veggie Man on my arm right now.
Do it.
Do it.
And I'm
But
just going to throw a little FYI out there. If anybody can hear the large AC that I have running, I do apologize. I checked in here with old Donnie. He says he can't hear it on his side, but if you can hear it when this recording comes out, I do apologize. But again, it is like hotter than the devil's armpit outside. So I got to keep it cool.
and I also have cheap headphones. So I mean, you got people out there probably listening to our podcast and some beats. They might be able to hear it, but my cheap headphones, you can't. So
I mean, it seems really loud to me, and I know you've been here before, and you know how loud it can be. So
yeah.
I'm just not sure if it's getting picked up or not. But hopefully not. Hopefully not. But if it is, I apologize. But you know, you gotta work around it. It'll be fine. So my question is, I have for you.
Okay.
You used to do a job where you were out and about, and your job would take you to different places locally. Some probably out in the woods and stuff, and you're fixing things that break. What would you do if you're out there by yourself? I don't know, checking a tower. You know, not giving too much details on what you did for, even though you don't work there anymore. We'll just keep that. You know. But anyways, if you were out there by yourself checking something, and you just seem like a large 7, 8 feet furry creature just staring you down.
I mean, first off, like it depends on how close it was. Like I'm not trying to be like Billy Badass here because I'm clearly not going to fist fight this animal. But I don't know
Do
if
it,
I
no
would.
balls. That's kidding.
Yeah. I mean, unless it like lunged, like if it's staring at me, I'm probably going to stare back. And then if it keeps staring, I'm gonna be like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here. I mean,
We just all hope you're wearing your brown pants.
I depending on how big it was, I might shit myself.
Hey, no shame in that. I mean, you know me, I'm a little bit bigger than the average man. I I ain't throwing hands with no wolf man
Oh,
or no dog man.
I'm just now trying to decide if I'd I'd definitely throw hands with a kangaroo. I'm telling you, I would throw hands with a kangaroo big time. But a
I don't
dog
know how well
man,
that would work for you. I've seen some videos and they don't normally turn out too well.
they're scary. They're muscular as fuck. Like
They're
they
like
look like they're on
dogs on roids.
steroids. Yes. They should be a cryptid. Like, first off, their pouches are creepy
I was just
and
about
they're
to ask you
muscular.
if you've ever actually seen a picture of the inside of a kangaroo pouch.
Oh, it's like an alien world.
Yeah. It
I
looks like
don't.
some kind of like 80s horror film, like somebody getting disemboweled.
It looks like Ridley Scott made it. Like Sigourney Weaver should be in that. Oh, but not to get completely off topic, because this is our first episode for a while. So, we're a little giddy. Uh, there is photo proof of a dog man, and it's real. And It is from 1961. Now you're asking, you're like, I mean, it could still be fake. Nah, this thing is, I don't know how this thing's not as more famous than like it and the Bigfoot photo should be right beside each other. Would you like to hear the story about it, Troy?
I would love to. I've seen some different pictures online. Maybe I've seen the picture that you're talking about, but I didn't look at specific dates or anything. So I would be interested to hear that story.
All right, sit back, grab a cup of cocoa.
Too hot for cocoa, man.
Mm.
Cold
Let's
cocoa
grab
over ice or something.
just just a bag of ice. Maybe
Very
Starbucks. Hey,
much.
Starbucks, sponsor us so I can stop spending $6 for overpriced cold brew. But
We're not going to
anyways,
sponsor you when you just said that their stuff is overpriced.
I mean it is, but it's
You can't
good.
contra-
I like
you
it.
can't contradict sponsorship, sir.
That's why we have no sponsors. Okay, so the year was 1961, and there's a name, but then there's not a name. So I don't know how accurate this name is. So I'm just going to say like this man. So
Billy Bob Joe.
Billy Bob Thornton, Sling Blade. It was around 3 in the morning in Michigan, where the unknown source, get it, unknown source, uh, he was like just chilling at his home, and he lived across from where he worked at, right? And he's there, and something was making noise on the like this chain link fence, just kept like rattling it. Look, sound effects. We got sound effects. And he thought it was intruder. I can't talk. Intruder. You got to add that RD. And he goes from his work to his house, and he's going to grab a gun, but when he returns outside, he sees it's this 6 foot tall, grayish, brownish, like canine thing, just like wobbling in his driveway. So he decides, well, no one's gonna believe me at all. So he decides, I'm just gonna grab the camera. So he grabs the camera and takes a photo of it, 4 or 5 photos of it before it like runs off. And I will post one of the photos. I could only find one photo. I couldn't find the other ones, but it's it's not that it's blurry. It's late at night with a street light, and it's clearly something there. And it's not human looking. And he had the negatives too. So like it's like legit proof that something was there. Whether or not it's a dog man, that's up for interpretation. But
Yeah, it would be hard to. I mean, you could, in our realization, fake it, but what average Joe in that time was going to have any kind of like fursuit or prosthetic or anything like that that's going to really change the human dynamic? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Uh, I mean, I know I'm sure there are people that do it. Uh, but timeline wise, it's
Well, timeline wise, Star Trek had a dog dressed in an outfit as an alien.
yeah,
So
but that's also Hollywood and not just some average Joe's going to have, you know what I mean?
that's what I'm
That's my
saying.
point.
It wouldn't
Yeah.
look as fancy. It wouldn't be Reba out in the streets.
Yeah, it's just like, I'll tell you what, I know it's a little off topic and it'll be a topic one day, I promise, because it's very interesting to me. Have you ever seen some of those videos? Some of them, are more than likely are fake, but just the idea of it is like, have you seen some of those creepy, like, skinwalker videos
Yeah.
where, like, somebody's, like, claims to have a recording, like, a skinwalker on their property, or you'll hear, like, creepy talking and, like, mimicked voices changing and stuff like that? I just
I
wish I do wish I could capture something like not on my property, but catch like a picture or something. Of course, nobody will
I
believe you,
I
but
completely
to me, I'd be interested.
ruined my TikTok with skinwalker videos because I kept liking them. And
Uh-huh.
then and then I realized that a lot of them are fake, but I'm like, you know what? This is still creepy at 3 a.m. on the toilet. So
Yeah, it's just a theory. It's just a theory of putting yourself in that situation and it not being fake.
yeah.
Just some of them are well done.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and who knows, maybe there's one out of 100 that aren't fake, you know,
I
uh,
seen I
just
seen one
interesting.
I seen one like I seen some like mimic stuff, and mimic stuff is creepy as hell too. And but I would like to think that some of those are real. So like I think that's why I keep like liking them on TikTok. I'm like, one day I'll get one of these real.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. Like I seen one, and again, I know we're a little off topic, but hey, we're just shit in the breeze, shooting the breeze like we do.
Shitting
Uh,
bricks in the breeze.
I seen one where a guy literally like seen a figure like on the other side of his fence. Like he owned the property on the other side of the fence because it was like a farm, and like he seen a like a large mass like figure wasn't close enough to get too much definition, and it was nighttime. But then like he heard noise coming from out there that was like his daughter trying to get him to come out there, and like his daughter was like 6 or 7 years old, and like he already knew that like she was in bed asleep. Like, and it was just creepy because it was just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you could hear it clear as day in the distance. You're like, oh, that's a little girl, and it's like you just seen something out there that is obviously not a little girl.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I'm in danger. I need you to come here. It was like I'm gonna be calm as can be and just try to get you to come out here, and just like completely mimic kid voice. Creepy as fuck.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Like there's some creepy ass shit out there. So I need to talk about this before we get completely off topic. And this is the last part I have about Dogman.
All right.
I watched a Monster Quest. I think it's called Monster Quest on Discovery. And they did a werewolf episode. But a lot of it was about the Dogman. And
Mm-hmm.
some of it was interesting. Like it starts off in like 1987. This radio station played this song in Michigan, right? And it was about the dog man. And the guy never supposedly heard about the dog man ever. Well, people start calling in and like, hey, I seen him on my property. Hey, I seen him on like trying to eat my fence and like, I don't know, stupid stuff like that. So they got all kinds of calls, right? Well, then the song blew up and people knew who Dogman was. So the episode starts off great. Then as it goes on, they start interviewing different people, which I'm fine with. But remember when I told you that the dog man keeps challenging everybody to a staring contest?
Yeah.
Everybody's account. So like the first couple accounts were like different and like one the dog man ran out in front of them, the other was like hunters doing whatever. Sees the dog man staring at them and then they run away. They every story though after that, excuse me, is all the same. It's literally drive down the road, dog man stares at him, right? Which that's not a problem. I understand that. Like they make eye contact with the dog man. But they hook up every one of these people to a lie detector test. Every single one of them. So the first half of the episode is all these like eyewitness accounts, which, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I'm completely fine with. I like seeing all the different details. It was, I was learning stuff. Then the last half hour is like this guy like interrogating them, being like, "Did that dog man stare at you? What
Did
did
you
you
pet that
see?
dog?
Did you pet that dog?" One woman even got like hypnotized.
Hmm?
And it was like, for what? Like, the only thing you said different was, I mean, most dog men, if we didn't go into detail about this, most dog men have human hands. Like, they got claws, but they got like all five fingers and like,
Yeah, they're very humanoid
yeah, very
hands.
humanoid. Yes. So, like, the only detail this woman got out of this hypnosis was that, oh, I really remember his humanoid hands. That's it. So like
Huh.
the last half hour of the show, like I could have just skipped, and I was bored. I was getting bored because they were asking them not even different questions, just like, "What did you see?" And then you reheard the story. Oh, well, what it looked like. Then you reheard their description that they done gave you. Like, Monster Quest, what the hell are you doing? To be fair, that's the first Monster Quest episode I ever watched. So if the rest of them are like that, then I'm definitely not ever finishing that series. It was just bothering me. I couldn't help it.
This is what really grind my gears.
This what
Okay.
really grinds my gears is when you rehash, like, you give one person it, like, it's fine. But if you're giving like all 10 people that told stories the same test, like, I do not care anymore. Or just be like, hey, 9 out of 10 passed. 10
Yeah.
out of 10 passed. Like, you don't have to show me every question that they just answered 30 minutes ago. All right, I'm done.
Done ranting.
I'm cool. I'm cooled off now.
What's interesting to me though too is if you look at this the wide spectrum of like werewolves, for instance, is there's been like folklore, and like old timey stories and stuff. I think I've told you, I might have mentioned it on here before. If not, I've told you in person. Did I ever tell you about the story? It was like way back in like the early thousands. I think it was like in around in Germany or somewhere like that, where they had a tale of like where people had cornered this like wolf-like creature that turned into a dude.
Oh, I heard something a little bit about that.
Yeah, I might have told you before about it. I'm not 100% sure. Uh, but yeah, there's a story where these like townsfolk have been having issues with like livestock getting killed and stuff like that, and they ended up catching the beast in the act, and ended up a bunch of town folks. The typical, I like to view it as that typical mob scene where everybody's got like a torch in one hand and like a pitchfork in the other. Uh, like ended up running the beast into like a barn and cornering it. And then while it was cornered, it had changed in front of all these people, supposedly, changed from its like wolf, humanoid, werewolf beast form into like one of the people that they knew from the town.
Did they kill it?
I believe if I remember right, I'd have to look it up again because it's been a hot minute. I believe he was able to escape, and he ended up going back home, and then I think he ended up like murdering his family and himself or something like that. Uh,
Ah, well, that was a depressing story.
yeah, but what the
No, I'm just
interesting
kidding.
fact was is how long ago it was, and that the story was supposedly recorded is what the interesting thing to me was. It wasn't like, oh, this has been within like the last 100 years and it's been done by Hollywood, blah 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 blah. It was like year 1200 and something. You know what I mean? Like it was a long time
Yeah.
ago. Uh, I just thought that was interesting. It could be all fake bullshit. Who knows? Uh, but in general, it's been around a lot, and then there's a lot of stuff with here in the states, like Native American people. Like we were talking about skinwalkers earlier. You know, and there's been sightings of wolf-like humanoid beasts and stuff that have to do with that as well. So
Yeah.
in general, it's very interesting.
I think, well, I mean, if you look in the past, there's a lot of like, not necessarily Dogman, but like you look at Egypt and like a lot of their hieroglyphics. I wish I could talk. Uh, had like Dogman heads and stuff on them, and like it's interesting, like just how far back some of that stuff probably really goes.
Yeah. Well, I could go on a whole side tangent that has nothing to do with Dogman particularly. Uh, but we could save that story for another day. Uh, it is funny how things travel like that, though. Uh,
Yeah, it is.
well, hopefully, anybody here listening in, and we're glad to have anybody on board that's listening. And we thank everybody. Uh, you
Oh,
have any
oh,
stories you think Dogman related? You can definitely message one of us. Still have our email system up, which is nnpnpodcast@gmail.com. That is nnpnpodcast@gmail.com. Uh, Always willing to answer any questions or uh, we can share stories and stuff here on the podcast. If you have anything that you'd like to discuss or any stories about Dogman or anything in pertaining to that or anything paranormal, for instance. Um, we're
I
glad
got
to.
one more thing.
All righty.
So this has been killing me. I because we've not done as many episodes lately, I've not been able to do my UFO stuff. So like I'm excited about this one. This one's recent. Hometown. Troy, do you want to hear about these UFOs?
You're damn right I do.
All right. Now this is from New Fork website. Anybody can go there. It's super cool. It's got all the UFO. You guys know the drill. This is word from word what the people report to them. Okay. So the location, Morgantown, West Virginia. Duration, 5 minutes. Number of observers, two. Location details, blue apartments across from American Legion. Um, the shape is an orb, color green lights, estimated size, softball size, then grouped to basketball size. Okay.
Hmm?
It's I'll just get into it because there's a lot more details, but the characteristics was lights on object, haze around object, made a sound, magnetic sounds, possible abduction, and marks on body afterwards. Okay. You
Hmm.
ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay, this is exactly how they wrote it. This is not me making up anything. This is how it was given to these people. I was looking for my cat behind my apartment. I noticed a green illumination and heard a faint humming near the wooded area across the creek at this point. I looked up to the trees. My first thought it was lightning bugs, but it hasn't been warm enough for them. These orbs seemed to notice I was looking at them and began to flee very panicky, yet organized. They moved quickly and the humming intensified. They stayed low in the wooded area. I rule out drones due to the heavily wooded area and the size of the objects. Very small, but got bigger as they grouped together above the trees, and they strobed until disappearing. After seeing this, I went back inside and remembered nothing from that point. I have a few lumps under my skin above my knee that were never there before. I would rather talk in person. I'm afraid to share my story and fear the government.
Uh, al-
Right?
Always got to be afraid of the men in black.
Like that, I when I was looking for one, I was like, oh my goodness, this is the one. Hometown abduction, masterpiece. But if you're a fan of our show and that was you, reach out to us. We want to hear about it
Oh, for sure, for sure, for sure.
because we legit could know this person. We don't have to use
That's
no.
right down the road.
Yep, we can use voice distortion. Like we would not tell anybody. I don't like the government either. I fear them as well. But
Yeah,
that's all I got.
yeah. It'd be funny if be like one of those old timey shows. Just we'll just put them in shadow, change their voice to sound real deep like this.
Like X-Files agent Deep Throat.
Yeah. Well, thank everybody for checking out this episode of, that's normal, it's paranormal. But just remember, if you're outside, you hear some noise, thinking, might be old Yeller out behind the woodshed, and you got there and there's a giant 6 to 8 feet tall furry thing just trying its best to beat you in a staring contest. Remember, it's possible. That's not normal. It's paranormal.
I'm seeing shit that's burned my brain. Won't go away, and I'm pretty sure it's stained. 'Cause it stains, and it's strange. Only for good in the fall. Cartoons, yeah, they help it subside. Don't wanna think about when we die. It's alright. It's only at night. Only feel good.